Hi guys, my name is Amin. I am one of the founder of POPCONfest. And I'm here today to basically give you a lot of value, a lot of lessons and learning in terms of how you can create better content on LinkedIn that can actually help you to convert clients, that can also help to generate more leads and sales for your business. Let me give you like a little bit of brief information about what this group is about. The Authority on LinkedIn Facebook group is specifically designed for entrepreneurs who are looking at ways and method on how entrepreneurs can build their brand, can build their authority on LinkedIn, because we truly believe authority building is the way to go. So tonight we're going to be talking about call to action. Call to action is something that's really important. For me, it is super important to actually have a very good call to action strategy whenever you are creating content inside LinkedIn. A call to action is part of a framework that we actually use when we are creating content on LinkedIn. As part of our 14 weeks program, what we also do is that we help entrepreneurs to master their own copywriting skills on LinkedIn. We personally feel that when you're very good in creating content like copywriting or creating your own video or whatever type of content on LinkedIn, it will also help you to nurture your clients, and it also helps you to get clients to see you as the subject matter expert within your industry. In Popcorn, we have this framework where we actually have 5 components to this. Each of these first 4 components is linked up by the fifth component. Either you're creating copywriting, you're creating video, or whatever type of content on LinkedIn, as long as you have this framework to guide you, you can actually come up with 1,000 ways on how you can actually create copywriting on LinkedIn. So the first thing you want to take a look at is that whenever you want to create a copywriting or you want to create a content on LinkedIn, we always believe that you want to start with a bait. What is a bait? A bait is basically either a statement or a paragraph that basically gets your audience to want to stop and read your content, right? Another word for the bait is a hook. Now, a hook or the bait can come in many ways. It could be a sentence, it could be a word that you use, it could be a picture that you use for you to be able to get your audience to stop scrolling so they would want to pay attention to your content. Once you have the bait, you already hook them. The next thing that you need to do is garner their interest so that they would want to read your content even further. Okay. So usually, based on what we've seen so far and also based on our experience, what we really notice is that when it comes to getting people to be interested with your content, the first statement that you come out with after the bait, it needs to be something that builds the anticipation. And you can actually do this by evoking and also poking on their problem. When you highlight your client's problem, their dilemma, frustration, it gets them to want to read. So in the dilemma, what you do is that you're actually trying to get their interest so that they would want to continue to read your content. The next stage that you need to do in order for you to actually get them to want to continue reading and to complete their journey in terms of consuming your content is that you want to give them the hope, a solution. The third part of your content is usually the value that you are giving to them. It could be an educational piece, right? So the next part, after you talk about the problem, you can basically talk to them about the solution, right? By giving them some tips, by giving them some input and information in terms of what they can do so that they will be able to solve the dilemma or the problem that they're going through. So start with the bait. So the bait gets them to want to read. The dilemma is the drama, the problem, or some of the challenges that they're going through right now that they can relate to. And then the third part of your content is where you give them value, you give them the solution. This is where you basically deliver the good. Once they read that, they'll be like, aha, I never thought about this. This is something that's really unique. I want to know more about what you have and also more about what you can actually do for me. So these are the 3 very important elements that you need to have before you actually go to the last part, which is to get your audience to take action based on what you have given to them in the first 3 parts. This is the part that we're going to be talking a lot about tonight. For me, the call to action part is actually very important because this is the part where you want to get your clients to want to take action based on what they have already consumed and read through your content. I told you just now earlier that there's actually 5 parts to this, right? We have the bait, we have the dilemma, we have the hope, and also we have the call to action. Now, for every content, what you also need to have is that you need to find a way to link all of this content together. I like to call it the lead-in statement. The transition statements create some form of emotional connection, and it also allow your audience to be able to understand that there's a transition from one story to another. And what I noticed that a lot of people, when it comes to creating the content, either they're creating video, they're creating copywriting, a lot of people do not actually know how to actually transition from one to the other. This is the one that will actually craft and help you to come up with a good storytelling strategy when you're creating content on LinkedIn. This is always the fundamental framework that we use in Popcorn as a way for us to be able to get people to move from one part to the other part. Tonight's session, I can't cover the bait, I can't cover the dilemma, I can't cover the hope. It's just a bit too much for today's content, right? But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make sure that you guys would learn at least one part of this, which is the call to action, because I think the call to action is one of the most underestimated part in the content framework. When you actually can come up with a very good call to action, you will be able to get your audience to take part or to do something that they never thought of doing. Just to clear the air on this, what is a CTA? What is a call to action? I'm very sure that when you are consuming content in social media, when you're reading an article, right, a long article, and you will see a button that says, read more, or take me there, sign up for this, download this, do this. There are many versions of this. This is what we call call to action. Simply what it means is that it is a method that you use to get people to take an action. That's why we call it call to action. And each of this version varied depending on the objective and also depending on where you're actually putting it. If you're putting it in a long form content, like in a website and all that, you will notice that certain companies or individual will use a lot of call to action in between of that long content. What I realized is that when it comes to social media posting and content, what works the best is that you always put the call to action at the end of your content. What I also realized is that a lot of people actually do not know how to do a proper CTA. Why is it that people are struggling when it comes to creating CTA? Because number one, I will contribute this to the kind of mindset that they have when they are creating content. Before I go to that mindset part, I want to talk about the importance of CTA. It's important to have a CTA when you're creating content because with a proper CTA, it will allow your audience and your participant or people that is consuming your post or content to interact with your content by actually taking action, such as either clicking the button, signing up, liking your content, sharing or commenting. So all of these are things that will actually increase engagement and also allow people to actually take actionable steps. Writing the perfect call to action will actually help you to either make it or break the content. It's one of those elements that will directly impact your conversion rate too. I always get this question. Is it necessary for you to put CTA in all of your content? It depends on the objective of the content. If the objective of the content is just to harness engagement, there are certain times where I don't put a CTA. It's just because I want to get people to just engage with it without too much of commitment. But what I realize is that when you put CTA, it does help you to increase the engagement as well. So it also depends on the type of content you create and also the strategy that you want to put in when you're creating your content. But most of the time, whenever I am creating content, where our students are creating content, we always encourage them to actually put a CTA towards the end of the content itself. Now that we know that the call to action is super important in your content, let's talk about some of the mistakes that people make when it comes to CTA and the mindset that we have when it comes to content. One of the interesting mindset that I noticed that a lot of people have when they are just starting their journey in terms of creating content on either LinkedIn or any social media platform out there, one of the biggest mistake that they do is that they like to immediately want to sell something through their content. That's one of the worst things that you wanted to do. So in terms of mindset wise, guys, you're not using your content to directly sell. You do that, you will lose people. People will run away from you. And there's a lot of other mistakes that people do as well. So you have to understand the nature of a content. The big nature of a content is that the content is designed as a way for you to nurture your client. Can you sell only after permission have already been created? Only after you have generated enough traction and enough valuable posts for you to actually do a direct post so that you can sell directly to your audience. If you are just starting and beginning, you need to get rid of this mindset of, I want to sell immediately through my content. That's one of the biggest mistakes they want you to do. There are something that people like to do that for me is a big no-no when it comes to CTA. Number one is that they like to create a post, and then towards the end of the post, they like to do either 2 or 3 call to action, and that will confuse the hell out of people. People will just get confused because it's just too many call to action. Now, you have to operate from this angle, yeah. When you are creating content, you want to operate from an angle of simplification. People do not like things to be too complicated. If it's too complicated, they will not do anything. So avoid having like 2, 3 call to action. Like example, download this post and then share this to as many people as you can. And then don't forget to comment on this post as well. That's already 3 action there, guys. So make sure that you do not have too many call to action when you're creating one post. For me, one call to action is good enough. Number two, you don't want to get your audience to work too hard. When they want to take action, it has to be a simple action. When it's too complicated for them, they won't do it. So example, after people have completed reading your post, you get them to actually, hey, can you go outside there and talk to 3 people about my post? That's not going to happen because it's just too much work for them. A call to action needs to be something that's simple, that is easy for them to do. Don't get them to work too hard, guys. Yeah. Another thing that I also noticed is that you like to ask for too much before you're providing value. Yeah. This is where I was talking about this in the beginning, where you are trying to sell immediately. Okay, you're just posting a brochure, and after that, immediately after that, come and buy this. You have not created enough permission for you to be able to get them to want to do something for you. Overselling will kill your content. So don't do that. Stop doing that. The next thing that you also want to make sure that you don't make this mistake, right, is that the choice of word and language that you choose is not energetic enough, it's not enrolling enough. It's like a by the way kind of things. Okay, so you use negative words that doesn't provoke or trigger action from the audience. Example, you write this one long content and then towards the end of it, you use negative word like try. If you've watched Star Wars, you've noticed either do or you don't do. There's no try. So you want to avoid all of this kind of language when you are creating a call to action. Positive, energetic words that creates urgency works really, really well. A call to action that is too wordy and long also will not work as well. So make sure that you do not do that when it comes to creating call to action. Maybe you don't have one, or people can't even find a call to action towards the end. There's also another mistake that I notice a lot of people are doing that makes their content to be not actionable. So make sure that you do not do any one of this. Don't make your audience go through a complicated process. You need to understand and always remember that when you are creating a content, your content is the door that will open up possibilities for your audience. They are just peeping through the door, guys. And immediately after that, you're trying to sell something to them. They're going to close the door from you. It does not have to be all about purchase. You want to make sure that when you're asking your audience who are not familiar with you yet, most of the people that were viewing your content are a complete stranger. Operate from that angle. You do not want to ask a complete stranger to get married with you for the first time immediately after you met them. So it's just like a dating process. It's one step at a time. Make sure that when you create a CTA, it needs to be super simple. So, what should you be doing when it comes to creating your call to action? You want to make sure that you follow the 7 tips. And I always believe that the 7 tips is really the way for you to be able to create your CTA and you include your CTA into your content. So, what are the 7 tips that you can also include that will definitely make your call to action to be so much better? Number one, you use strong action word, positive words, energetic word, like let's get started, download this, join, get this. So when you use strong action words, it allows people to take action because of the energy that you put into those words. So strong action words work really, really well. Besides that, you want to be able to provoke a strong emotion and you want to motivate your audience and you want to make sure that they feel enthusiastic. Words that you choose is very, really important, like lose weight in just 4 minutes. Notice the urgency of that statement. Limited time offer. That one kind of like create the FOMO-ness, right? Getting people to want to immediately take action. So those are some of the things that you want to do when you're creating your copywriting, especially on the call to action. Use strong emotion, words that will trigger action. Also, another thing that's really important, when you are creating a call to action, you want to create urgency. You don't want them to only take action later because by that time, they already consume a lot of other content, they forgot about you already. You want them to immediately take action the moment after they have read and consume your content. So we like to call this the FOMO principle. So words like before it's too late, limited time offers, those are the things that you want to use to create urgency in your call to action. Another thing that you do, you want to make sure that when they look into the call to action, it's clearly stated the benefit. And you want to send them where they need to go. What does that mean? For example, if we were to create a post for people to join our Facebook group, one of the things that I also want to make sure that before I actually come up with the actual call to action, I want to talk to them about the benefits that they're going to get by joining the Facebook group. Example, if you were to join this group, you will be able to learn more about how you can generate leads and sales for your business. So it's clearly defined. You want to be very specific when it comes to the benefit. Make sure that the audience can clearly see and can clearly read what are the benefits that they're going to get when they take action. And once they take action, this is really important because I also noticed that a lot of people like to do this mistake. You give them a link and then the link bring them to a place that does not serve their benefit. So make sure that you check your link. Make sure that the link that you provide to them will bring them to where they need to go. So this is really, really important. Check your link before you actually give it to them. Call to action doesn't just have to be words. It could come in the form of a picture, a visuals. You can be creative to get people to want to take action. Bear in mind that about 50 plus over percent of people are visuals. So they like to see something that pops. So you make it pop. Like one of the things that we like to do when we are creating content on LinkedIn, sometimes we like to use carousel as well. And we will actually put like the last part of the carousel to clearly bring them using a nice visual to get them to take action in the last page. So it really pops and it looks really clear for them. Nothing wrong with being creative, right? And also at the same time, when you are creating your call to action, you want to make sure that you keep it casual and also conversational. What we want to do is that we want to use casual conversation when we're creating posts. Even though you are doing it on LinkedIn, you want to imagine as if you're talking to a colleague or friend. And last part is this KISS, keep it simple, keep it smooth. Don't overcomplicate your call to action because when you overcomplicate your call to action, right, you tend to realize that your audience will not be able to relate to it and then nothing is being done after they actually consume your content. So make sure your call to action is simple and smooth. Next part to this. What kind of call to action can I create? I always look at 3 elements when I want to create my call to action. Number 1, I want to make sure who am I targeting? So when I create the call to action, who is this call to action for? Number 2, I want to make sure that I'm super clear in terms of what I want them to do. They need to know what are the actions that they need to take. And number 3, what is the context of this? The context is if they were to do this, what's the reason? What's the fine print in this? Every time when I create a post, I always ask myself that question. So what is it that I want them to do after they read my post? So example, the type of action they can do, you can get them to share your content. Who are you targeting? You're targeting specifically to those who are reading your content. So if you're reading this, you need to hear this and you know someone that needs to hear this. Share this to as many people as you can. Notice that? So I'm targeting you, the audience, and you know someone who need to hear this, and you're getting them to share it. Don't get them to do too many things. I want you to share, tag, and comment. There's too many action already. Make sure that you tell people to do one simple action. So when you write your content, just focus on one thing to do. The next part, you can get people to tag. Who do you want them to tag? You want them to tag their friends. If you agree with this content and you find this super beneficial, tag your friends who will benefit from this. So notice that, right? That's a call to action. You can get people to tag in the comment, right? They can do that. So again, very simple, one action for them to do. So you can also do this. Comment in the chat if you know someone who has this similar problem and would find benefit in getting a solution for this. So notice that again, you can get them to comment. So who are you targeting? Again, you need to understand who you're targeting. And when you're sending the message, you specifically say, who is it for? If you want your boss to join, for example, if your boss joined a Facebook group and they will get informations that will support them, you can say something like this. If you know that your boss would like to have this information and will benefit their business, click on the link to join our Facebook group. Notice that. One simple action for them to do. You can get them to download. Example, if you have freebies that you want to give away, you have like an ebook they want to give away, and you basically just want to share value to people. So if you're targeting entrepreneurs, specifically you can tell in your post, if you are an entrepreneur that is looking for ways to generate more leads and sales on LinkedIn, and you want to get the freebies, right? Click on this link to download. Simple. Very simple. Get them to do simple stuff. If you want them to find out more, if you are running a Facebook group that will allow husband to be able to learn more about how they can become more romantic, for example, right? Example, I'm just giving example. Okay, so again, guys, you need to know who you're targeting. If you know of any husbands who needs this information, click on this link to join our Facebook group to find out more about how you can become the most romantic husband in the world. This is how you create a call to action. You need to understand these three contexts. What are the actions that you want to get them to do? What is it for? And who are you targeting? When you understand these three contexts, then after that, you can put that into your call to action. The last one is a very direct approach to call to action. This is a sales call to action. You can use powerful word like save. If you would like to save 10% on getting this product, especially targeting to mom, click on this link to download your free voucher now. It goes back to simple stuff. Make it simple. When you are asking for people to take action in your content, always remember that people who are consuming your content are mainly strangers that do not know you. So you do not want to complicate the process for them. You want to make sure that it's very easy for them to take action. So what else can you ask for? Okay. If you don't want to get them to buy now, okay, because buy now is something that's really high commitment, right? Okay. So give something that's even easier lah. Something that may not be too complicated for them. What else can you ask for? Something simple. Always remember this. Always ask for something simple. You can get them to read more articles. You can get them to watch, view, or play video. Right? You can get email a friend, forward to a friend, subscribe to your newsletter, sign up now. Okay. If you created a white paper for them, it could come in the form of an ebook and all that. You can get them to download your white paper. You can get them to bookmark this site or page. Okay. Get them to add your page into favorites. You can get them to print. Get them to tweet. You can get them to retweet. Okay. Everything that we have here, examples are simple things that you can get people to do. Like and follow us. Sorry, that's what I put there. Follow us on LinkedIn. Share with your colleague. Vote. Right? Notice that it's an actionable word. Vote. And share the PowerPoint. Get on your smartphone. Text for information. Download this app. Okay, if you're an app developer, you can do that too. Okay. Contact us. Call now. Type help if you need help. Right? Register now in this website. Request for a catalog. Add to wish list. Add to shopping cart. Chat now. Buy now. Or purchase now. Review our product. add your comments, upload video, upload photo, upload presentation, share your. So, guys, notice this, there are so many things that you can ask them to do. But what are some of the commonality in terms of the action plan here, ladies and gentlemen? Is that you want to make sure that the action is simple for them. Remember this again. Do not get strangers and ask them to marry you in the first date. One step at a time. Make it easy for them. And once you have understand this concept, you can come up with powerful call to action that will trigger conversations for you. It will lead them to want to connect with you. So there are so many possibilities for this. Whatever that I'm covering tonight, guys, is actually very, very small portion in terms of what we actually covered in our Authority Accelerator 14 weeks program. What we do is that we have this number one goal of actually helping entrepreneurs to build their authority on the LinkedIn platform so that they will be able to generate more leads, more impact, more sales for their business. Because in Popcorn, we truly believe that one of the best way for you to be able to generate more growth for your business is by building your authority online. And we would like to start doing that on LinkedIn. Now, all of this element, okay, including the last part, which is the connection for all of this content, okay, is something that we go through extensively in our 14 weeks program. For those of you who wants to know more about this strategy, you are interested to know more about how you can actually learn to apply this strategy back into your daily authority building activity on LinkedIn, and you are looking at ways on how you can actually position yourself as the go-to person, as the subject matter expert within your industry, and you're ready to go all out to use LinkedIn as the way for you to actually do that, I would like to invite you to have a conversation with me via Zoom. In order for you to be able to participate in our program, we will actually go through a selection process. And in our selection process, what we do is that we would like to have like a conversation with anyone who would like to participate in our program, because we want to make sure that we can support you and assist you in making sure that you can actually get the results and to get the value from the training as much as you can. I hope that you have learned something from tonight's session. I hope that tonight's session has given you a lot of value. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll see you again soon.